right outside, at this exact moment, are dozens and dozens of ICE agents. Donald Trump, you think it's coincidental? No. Donald Trump and his minions, Tom Homan, totally decided, coincidentally or not, that this was a location to advance ICE arrests. Indiscriminate? Perhaps. We'll find out later. Was certainly indiscriminate when a 15-year-old disabled boy had a gun put to his head in Los Angeles trying to go to school just a few days ago. I don't need to belabor this, except I want to level set. People are scared. People are fearful. You know, United States senators thrown out of the breath. Alex Pretty. J.D. Vance's name is Alex Pretty, not Jose Pretty. That's the Vice President of the United States.
So they just, all right. So sending federal agents outside the press conference of the California governor. This is definitely what we see as a tearing away, a falling apart. You know what I mean? Okay. Nice orb of light just went past during that time. What are we talking about? The falling away of Babylon. And this was happening. Babylon's falling away. There's angels everywhere. You got to see it. You got to pay attention. You got to repent. This is serious. This is happening. All right. That's why this is called Sixth Sense. Got to have that intuition kick in. You know what I mean? Don't fall away now. You know what I mean? Something you have to build up. You know, ask the Most High to build it up for you. Okay. And you'll see that it's amazing things that are happening all around us. You know, you just got to open up your eyes, witness it, and then remember. Kom Yashala, we got next. All right. Let me just do a timestamp on that real quick. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at it and see that this is very real, okay? Angels ascending and descending. Happens all the time, all right? I pray that you understand how crucial your words, your thoughts, and your actions are in this time period. That you pay attention, that you don't forget, that you continue to move forward because time is short. All right. Let's get Second Ezra. Matter of fact, Salakia, where we're at. Let's get Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 16. Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely take this serious, Israel.
Khan, Shalom. All praises to the Most High. Okay, Shalom, Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Brakatah. Kom Yashala, double honors to our elders, paving the way. Okay, all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Kom Yashala, we got next. Let's get started. All right, it's not going to be a long class, but we're going to talk about bringing down the strongholds. Right now in America, the strongholds are collapsing. You know, America is not looked at as the beacon of hope and freedom and optimism and everything that, you know, the American dream was supposed to entail. You know, now it's looking like Germany in 1940s. You know, you have a Gestapo ICE agents walking around with poo shiesty masks, taking people out of their work, bringing them to supermax prisons, so forth and so on. And America's being exposed right now. So the son of perdition is being seen by those obviously that have an eye to see, but for most people, most Americans, they're seeing that their government actually allow pedophiles to run wild and run free. So this time period we're living in, time to repent and keep the commandments. Let's start with Job chapter 40 and verse 11. So we're bringing down the strongholds. Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is bringing down the strongholds, and we're able to prophesy in these last days regarding that, which is a tremendous honor. Okay. First, let me say, Fair Use Act, Fair Use Act. This video is protected by the Fair Use Act. This is for educational purposes only. Okay. Let's begin. Job chapter 40 and verse 11. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold every one that is proud, and abase him. Verse 12. Look on every one that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Okay. Right now, Donald Trump, at one point in time during the weekend, people thought that he actually passed away. He's not looking good. As far as his ankles are swollen, his hand looks black. He looks kind of out of it. He's mumbling and repeating the same thing over and over again. So, his health is obviously, it looks like it's in jeopardy, but people thought he actually passed away. But right now, he came back and he's doing his executive orders and moving the Space Force to Alabama because he didn't like the way Colorado allows people to have mail-in ballots. So he really didn't miss a step, but at the same time, he doesn't look good. Okay. And let's talk about it. They had an Epstein survivors press conference today. Let's talk about it. All right. He blew up suspected narco traffickers from Venezuela, so people suspected of selling drugs, the president executed and put it on his social media for the whole world to see. So this is pretty much where we're living at right now. But the Most High is going to bring him from that high place that he's at very low. All right. So let's play this video. Salakia. With Donald Trump and his antics that the world is exposing. People continue to expose. The simple lie isn't working. People want to know what's up with Epstein, so forth and so on. But he's trying to lie his way out of it. It's not working. Let's check this out.
There it is, Donald, haunted by your own past as your body is physically rotting in public, as you're deteriorating before our eyes. Your attempt to show proof of life yesterday looked like Weekend at Donnie's as you gave one of the most bizarre press conferences I've ever seen that you could barely get through. As you zoom in on your hand, it looks like it's almost like totally blue at this point. Your ankles are basically exploding from the inflammation. But sure, Donnie, the White House says it's just because you shake a lot of hands. Look at this side view of Donald Trump. It looks like the person from Men in Black, one that puts on like the bodysuit and it's actually the alien underneath. You know that scene? I forget what the character it is, but they were like in Queens, and I like that movie growing up. I want to talk about, though, what Donald Trump's been doing, the utter weakness, both on the inside and out. And then let's contrast it what's going on around in the world. But today is a big day. The Epstein survivors are speaking out. We're going to have it here on the Midas Touch Network. My promise to you always was to fearlessly and courageously lead the coverage on the issues that matter most. So we will be streaming here. Check it out. It's live today. The Epstein survivors speaking out. It's what Donald Trump feared the most. The DOJ ignored them. And it is an honor here at the Midas Touch Network, even if we can play a small part in amplifying their stories. So here's what Donald Trump, though, is posting on social media now. The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. President Donald J. Trump, as they are conspiring against the United States of America, you idiot. But why do you look like a pathetic and jilted lover? Enjoy the honeymoon as you conspire against what we could have had together. I mean, look, as Donald Trump offends, attacks, and alienates our allies here in the United States, as Donald Trump had that humiliating half-day appearance at the G7 before he ran and scurried back to the United States, Xi Jinping just held a massive conference in Tianjin. He had Prime Minister Modi of India visit, the first time Modi's visited China in 7 years. You had Vladimir Putin there. You had all of these leaders across the world basically saying Xi Jinping is now the leader of an axis of, they weren't saying it this way, but of an axis that is a stronger pole in a multipolar world than the United States. So just take a look at the actions just in the past 24 hours. So all of that military might that Donald Trump sent to the coast of Venezuela, well, we had like 5 ships, a nuclear submarine, amongst other major assets around Venezuela. Donald Trump attacks a little teeny tiny fishing boat and kills 11 people. And then he posts on social media this ridiculous video that he posts of himself, this snuff film of himself killing 11 people who he says are Tren de Aragua. Donald Trump says, earlier this morning on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against positively identified Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. TDA is a designated foreign terrorist organization operating under the control of Nicolas Maduro, responsible for mass murder. So you had the American military, all of these ships, go right by Venezuela to attack this little fish boat and kill 11 people. And then you post the video of you murdering these 11 people. As Adam Isaacson writes, here's the video Trump just posted to Truth Social with the claim that 11 people aboard the boat were killed. Did that get you off, Donald? Did that turn you on watching 11 people die at your command, you freaking sicko? It makes you look so weak, as Isaacson goes on to say, there is zero evidence of self-defense here. Looks like a massacre of civilians at sea, even if they had drugs aboard. That's not a capital offense. Trump's judge, jury, and executioner of people. And by the way, we know that Donald Trump has labeled so many people here in the United States, Tren de Aragua and MS-13, that aren't actually Tren de Aragua and MS-13, just murdered 11 people. Just murder. Rex Hupke goes, looking forward to the sanctity of human life crowd weighing in on the United States posting a snuff film. Aaron Reichlin Melnick writes, drug trafficking is not a capital crime. It doesn't carry a death sentence. I genuinely cannot think of anything under U.S. law that would permit premeditated government assassination of people suspected of drug trafficking. I mean, think about Abu Ghraib, like the scandal of Abu Ghraib, a big freaking scandal to see the United States military torturing people and behaving like that, right? The outrage, the righteous outrage that exists. Donald Trump's just posting himself attacking fishing boats and saying, well, there was 11 gang members, so this is what our military does. To me, that reeks of freaking weakness right there. Because that's what Donald Trump, he wanted to look tough, because what was happening in China was the largest military parade in recent history, largest military parade ever. Notably, they picked Tiananmen Square to do it in Beijing. You had Putin there. You had Kim Jong-un there. You can just look, there they are together. The new axis of evil. You can look at the military weapons and trucks that are there. And as Trump, again, weak, decomposing, rotting, sickly, covering up for a sex pedo ring of Epstein and Ghislaine. This is what China was doing. Here's the video from China, from Xi Jinping. Here, play this clip. So when Donald Trump was asked at that bizarre press conference yesterday, what do you think about the military parade? Does that concern you? Donald Trump, like a little baby's like, no, 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 no. It's like I'm watching this. I'm like, you're like a little freaking child. Who looks at this as like, oh, that's a tough guy? No, no. You look like that that parrot that I follow on TikTok that go, no, no. Here, play this clip.
Sir, China's having a massive military parade that President Putin and Kim Jong-un will be attending. Do you interpret that as a challenge to this? And are you concerned at all about those countries?
No,
Some sort of counterweight.
not at all. China needs us, and I have a very good relationship with President Xi, as you know, but China needs us much more than we need them. No, I don't see that at all, no. And I had actually a very good meeting with President Putin a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if anything comes out of it. If it doesn't, we'll take a different stance.
Here's the audio of Trump from yesterday, posted by Scott Jennings. This guy's a Trump bootlicker. This guy's a Trump sycophant, right? And Trump sounds so sickly on this. Listen to his voice in this thing. Here, play this clip right here.
I'm very disappointed in him. He and I had a great relationship, but very disappointed. Thousands of people are dying. They're not Americans that are dying, but they're Russians and the Ukrainians, and there's thousands, and it's a war that makes no sense. And it would have never started if I were president, and that's what bothers me even more, because the election was totally rigged, and it's a shame. We'll see what happens, but I'm very disappointed in President Putin. I can say that, and we'll be doing something to help people live. You know, it's not a question of Ukraine. It's help people live. 7,000 people are dying every single week. Soldiers, mostly. But 7,000 people. And if I can help to stop that, I think I have an obligation to do it.
He sounds freaking horrible. So in advance of the Epstein survivors speaking out today, they spoke exclusively with NBC yesterday, and they were asked about the DOJ reaching out to them. And, did they hear that Ghislaine was being transferred from the Ghislaine Maxwell, the sex trafficker, Epstein's co-conspirator, from the minimum security facility in Tallahassee, from the maximum security facility in Tallahassee to the minimum security facility in Bryan, Texas? Has the DOJ contacted you? Watch this, play this clip.
So can I get a show of hands? Who here is satisfied with the level of contact they've had from Congress? Nobody. Let me ask this. How about the Justice Department? I want to ask a couple of things about what you knew about things that were happening with this case that you're obviously involved with. Show of hands. Did any of you hear from the Justice Department before they released that memo, that 2-page memo earlier this summer? No hands. Were any of you told that Todd Blanche would be speaking with Ghislaine Maxwell prior to that interview over the course of 2 days?
No.
No. Were any of you told about the prison transfer?
No.
Do any of you feel that the DOJ has communicated with you enough this year?
No.
Have any of you had any communication with the DOJ?
No.
Nobody in this room has heard at all from the Department of Justice?
No.
Is that surprising to you?
No. It should be. It should, yeah, right?
But ultimately, Donald Trump doesn't care if he's destroying our country because for him, it's just a grift for himself. It's just a grift for him and his family to make money, right? This week, it was a new Trump crypto, everybody. New Trump crypto drop. I mean, how ridiculous is this, right? People were like livid at Jimmy Carter's brother for having a business, and Jimmy Carter had to divest from his meager salary at his farms. And I mean, and Donald Trump's family amassed a $5 billion fortune after their latest crypto launch. And this is the WLFI, World Liberty Financial Token. So you may be saying, but Ben, didn't he do a crypto drop before? That was the Trump meme coin. But Ben, didn't he do a crypto drop before? That was the Trump NFT. Oh, and then there was Trump NFT Series 1, Series 2, Series 3. And then there was Trump meme coin, Melania meme coin, and now WLFI token. I know it's a little bit, how silly are we? We should have known this is a new token, right? Then you have people under investigation or previously under investigation from the SEC spending all their money on this token to kind of prop up its value so it doesn't just totally crash and crater, to suck up to the Trump regime, right? And then you have, by the way, World Liberty Financial. They took in huge amounts of money from the Pakistani crypto fund that they did in Pakistan right around the terrorist attack that took place in Kashmir. And then the chief of staff of the Pakistani army, Munir, then visited Donald Trump, and then Prime Minister Modi was offended, and then Prime Minister Modi was also offended. Oh, then Munir from Pakistan said, I'm going to nominate you for a Nobel Peace Prize, Donald, for bringing peace between India and Pakistan. And Donald Trump goes to Modi, I want the Nobel Peace Prize. Give me the nomination. And Modi's like, I'm not going to nominate you for a Nobel Peace Prize. You didn't stop the war between India and Pakistan. We have our own national sovereignty. I'm not going to lie and say you're the reason. You had nothing to do with why there was a ceasefire between India and Pakistan based on a 75-year conflict in Kashmir. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So then Trump's like 50% tariffs. That's why Trump's tariffing India 50% because they didn't nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. And Pakistan got on his good side by knowing the right buttons to push. And so then Modi goes to China. And Modi's was there with Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, and America looks weak. And Donald Trump's post is, please give my warmest regards to Vladdy and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against us. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, how do people like objectively? How does anybody go? That's a tough guy. That's a tough guy right there. You're bombing freaking little fishing boats. The hell are you doing? Killing 11 people and then posting the killing of 11 people. You freaking sicko. Again, I don't care what political party. Sick behavior, weak behavior. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks for watching. Thanks for.
Okay, so as you can see, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, falling apart, destroying fishermen's boats over there in Venezuela, having 7 warships already prepared. But the Most High is humbling him and bringing him down physically, mentally. He seems to be deteriorating. All praise to the Most High. Let's get Job chapter 40. Let's start at verse 12. I know we read that, but let's read it again. Job chapter 40, verse 12. Look on every one that is proud and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. So, as being president of the United States, he is going through a lot lately. And, I always say, if you feel that negative spirits are getting around you, or, you had some crazy thoughts, just come out of nowhere, ask the Most High to send those demons and those unclean spirits to Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And you'll see him deteriorate even more, Most High willing. Okay, verse 13. Hide them in the dust together and bind their faces in secret. Okay, so, just like Pharaoh, he's not going to make it. Okay, like Pharaoh drowned in the Red Sea. Donald Trump's going to get tore up, continue to get tore up. And most High willing, he'll drown in a lake of fire, trying to take our Black history out of the museums, sending 10 tribes to supermax prisons, federalizing the police and National Guard in DC, getting brothers for small crimes, small infractions, trying to get them booked. And I believe he's now getting the National Guard from Texas to go into Chicago. I think that's the plan. Not sure when that's going to happen, but may the Most High continue to vex this sad little man. Moving on. Let's talk about the chariots in the sky. Okay, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 11. Multiple sightings of chariots throughout the four corners continue to come in. Three-eye atlas, something to look at. The makeup, the chemical makeup of this so-called comet, its trajectory, using different planets to springboard off of their gravitational pull to go faster. It's already going faster than anything scientists have ever seen. So there's a lot going on in the heavens, to say the least. So let's get Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 11. But the Lord is with me as a mighty, terrible one. Therefore, my persecutors shall stumble, and they shall not prevail. They shall be greatly ashamed, for they shall not prosper. Their everlasting confusion shall never be forgotten. All right, so the Lord is with the 12 tribes of Israel. You know what I'm saying? The so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We follow the law, statutes, commandments written in the Bible. Our prayers pierce the clouds, and bad things happen to bad people. Let's continue on. Verse 12. But, O Lord of hosts, thou triest the righteous and seest the reins of the heart. Let me see thy vengeance on them. So Most High willing, we're able to see the vengeance that the Most High puts on our enemies. Continue on. For unto thee have I opened my cause. All right, so we depending on the Most High God because he said vengeance is his. Okay. Now let's check out these crafts. And, this is the vengeance of the Lord. They are setting Esau up, knocking them down. All praises to the Most High.
And I talk to folks in the Christian community and others that think it's part of the spiritual realm. I'm not doubting anybody's beliefs or anything. I'm not trying to rain on that. I'm just reporting what I've been told multiple times, and this is something I've pulled together. So I believe there's something going on.
How does this relate to UAP activities, Mr. Schellenberg, in oceanic environments? Are there any instances where the Navy or other maritime forces have encountered UAPs that could not be explained by known technology or natural phenomena?
Yeah, the Immaculate Constellation covers both terrestrial and oceanic, and there's actually a number of cases described in the report that occur in the ocean.
This week, Tennessee lawmaker Tim Burchett sharing about an account from an admiral describing an underwater UFO as large as a football field, moving at hundreds of miles per hour underwater.
The truth is out there, and it might be right here in the cabinets and halls of the United States Department of Defense. A bipartisan group of lawmakers is now calling on the disclosure of all classified intelligence on unidentified aerial phenomena and whether they arrived from out of this world.
They haven't been totally transparent with the information they do have. If it's not a UFO, then is it a weapon system?
If you don't give people a clear answer, and sometimes the clearest answer you can give is, I don't know, some will be suspicious of that.
You got notified by a 911 center that was concerned of a sighting in Island Beach State Park. We responded. We met a officer, a certified New Jersey officer, not from our department, from another agency. And that officer did an excellent job. She documented. That's where you're getting the reports of 50 drones coming off the ocean. That's what she reported seeing. She was on duty at the time, and she reports that she saw 50 drones coming from the ocean to the mainland transversing the airways over Island Beach State Park, going down towards Barnegat Light and coming to the seaside area. We have flight radar mapping capabilities, and we did not see anything on indicating it was a plane.
You know, in all your experience, right, what do you think, Sheriff Mastronardi, what do you think is actually happening in the skies over your community that could help kind of calm, you mentioned the word hysteria, right? And that's what happens. It's something like this is talked about so much that people believe that they're actually seeing a bunch more that they're actually seeing. But there is something going on. I saw it firsthand. So what are you telling folks, and what do you believe is actually happening?
Well, as I said, whoever it is has a lot of resources. The concern is that nobody has seen them take off or land. How's that possible? We're a very populated state. It's not like you're in the middle of nowhere. So the fact of the matter, nobody has seen them either come or land is troublesome.
There are rumors that have come up to the Hill of a secretive project within the Department of Defense involving the manipulation of human genetics with what is described as non-human genetic material, potentially for the enhancement of human capabilities, hybrids. Are any of you familiar with that? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
I am not, ma'am.
I'm not.
No, ma'am.
And do you believe that there is a concerted effort by the Pentagon to keep Congress out of the loop regarding these UAP activities, specifically in our waters?
Yes.
I think it's about 5% of our ocean that's actually been studied in detail by man, and we've studied more of space than we had of our own oceans. And so, are there any accounts of UAPs emerging from or submerging into our water, which could indicate a base or presence beneath the ocean's surface?
I don't know about a base, but, you know, as I mentioned, I had a different source entirely describe this pretty extraordinary footage that exists of orbs, of an orb coming out of the ocean and being met by another orb.
Some would say that there's multiple hotspots where we see frequent activity. So in your investigations, have you come across any data or visual evidence like sonar readings or underwater footage of these UAPs?
I have not beyond what's in the report.
You've written about UAPs not only in the air, but in underwater. Are there any specifics on what you've learned about the UAP activity in our oceans? Particularly, have you spoken with sources who have provided any evidence or eyewitness accounts of these UAPs interacting with our naval forces or being detected by our underwater surveillance systems?
Nothing beyond what's in the report and in the specific case that I mentioned with the orb.
And there's basically, I've been told there's 5 really deep sea areas that we know more about the surface of the moon than we know about the surface of the ocean there. And you have a lot of UFO or UAP activity there. And people are sighting these things. You're having sailors, you're having different people all across the world. And the numbers seem to be higher in these areas. And that leads you to believe is something traveling light years? Is that even possible in our realm of thought? I mean, you're talking about the light from the closest stars left there before the time of Christ when we see it at night. So, you know, you have to think, well, maybe something is here, and has it been here long? And, you know, and I talk to folks in the Christian community and others that think it's part of the spiritual realm. I'm not doubting anybody's beliefs or anything. I'm not trying to rain on that. I'm just reporting what I've been told multiple times, and this is something I've pulled together. So I believe there's something going on, and our government, once again, is spending tens of millions of dollars on something that they tell us does not exist.
Comet, asteroid, or something else. A Harvard astrophysicist believes there's a strong likelihood this is a craft of alien origin. Give me the best case for why you think this object may be extraterrestrial and maybe alien form.
Well, first, its brightness implies that if it represents reflection of sunlight from a solid object, it needs to be 20 kilometers in diameter. That's bigger than Manhattan Island. And this is a giant rock. The previous interstellar objects were hundreds of times smaller. So it just doesn't make sense that the third object from interstellar space will be 100 times bigger than the previous two. And we won't see anything in between. And moreover, there is not enough rocky material in interstellar space to deliver us a rock of this size 20 kilometers, over a period of about a decade that we conducted the survey of the sky, because this material is very rare and you expect it once per maybe 10,000 years or longer. And so it's surprising if indeed it's a rock of that size.
NASA is saying this is a comet. It poses no threat to Earth.
Can you take us back? What exactly did this admiral tell you?
Well, the last thing he told me was they're real. He said they're real. It was just me and him talking in a doorway, actually, and he described sonar readings of something, and I believe it was described as large as a football field, and the speeds were just something that we're not even close to being able to do underwater. I wasn't thousands of miles an hour. It was in the realm of a couple hundred miles an hour, but still, I think the closest thing we've got something that does close to 40 miles an hour, maybe, or 45, something like that. I don't know, maybe some of our secret apparatus, but anyway, and this is not the first time this has happened. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to others that have said the exact same thing. People that were on a ship or on a sub, that's something, they had weird pings, things that showed up, and they moved at such a speed that it was just not fathomable. And he turned to him and said, "We have uncovered things that we do not understand. They're moving at speeds that we do not understand. They're at angles, stop and go." He said, "I don't know if it's a wormhole. I don't know how they are doing it, but they are doing it."
You've been meeting with some lawmakers here, and you're calling on Congress to pass the bipartisan UAP Disclosure Act. If they do pass it, what will we find?
Well, what we're going to find out is that there's an element deep within the Defense Department and the operations director of the Central Intelligence Agency that has been committing perjury to Congress, lying, denying the fact that they have recovered a non-human origin extraterrestrial spacecraft and the bodies that they've now DNA tested and know to be non-human.
You're saying, because you represent some whistleblowers, you're saying that they have disclosed to you that this evidence exists, these documents exist, that these phenomena have come indeed from out of this world with actual alien species.
That they know they're non-human.
Do they describe what those species are or look like?
Well, actually, not yet to the public. We've gotten this information out. But the fact of the matter is that if we get this bill passed, and we're getting in the process this in the first week of September, we're hoping as soon as they come back from their summer break, that the Senate is going to pass a 64-page bill that mandates that all of the information that is 25 years old or more, that's basically anything before 2000, basically has to be immediately publicly released to the people, okay? And anything else is going to be submitted to a 9-person panel to be appointed by the president. And that panel is not only to go through it and decide what else to release right away, but they're going to set up a 7-year program called the UAP Controlled Disclosure Campaign Plan, to release all of this information over the next 7-year period so that we can adjust our economic systems, our geopolitical structures, our domestic political structures to try to accommodate the fact that we now are aware of the fact that there's an extraterrestrial civilization surrounding us.
So this law is set up to that if we do confirm this evidence, that the American people, the world population, will learn about this in a measured fashion. Does this include some of those space or those craft that were captured by U.S. Air Force pilots that seem to descend from the atmosphere to the sea, within seconds, defying the laws of gravity and physics?
0.7 of 1 second.
0.7 of 1 second.
From 80,000 feet. In stopping instantaneously at the surface of the ocean, because they've been engaged in a back engineering program. They've had these craft for some time, and they've been engaged in back engineering the technology, trying to replicate some of these. And so there appear to be some craft that have been back engineered and constructed and that are being flown by U.S. Air Force personnel in a deep secret program. But the reality is that there are a major number of other craft that are not ours. They're not Soviet, or they're not Russian, and they're not Chinese. And so they're from somewhere else. But now that they've recovered the bodies, and they've actually DNA tested them. They know that they're non-human.
Okay, so, all right, say this gets confirmed. What you're saying, what your whistleblowers have told you that worked in the Defense Department, how long do you think that they were here?
Well, they've been here basically. A lot of the sightings started right around the dropping of the first atomic bomb in 1945. That's when they began showing up around White Sands in the Yucca Flats, and they've been spotted since then. And that they've been the first crash retrieval was recovered in 1947. Okay, so they've been here since then. And there's all kinds of evidence indicating they've been here periodically earlier.
You know, when this story first came out a few weeks ago, as a resident of New Jersey, as a journalist, I didn't pay it much credence. I thought it would turn out to be a bunch of pranksters and this would all be over by now. The experience I had last night, however, changed the way I feel about this story completely. What I saw was more sophisticated than I ever imagined. Take a look.
1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 lights, 6 lights.
I didn't believe what I was seeing. But what was I seeing? We're here in Central Jersey. We've been looking for the past hour. I think we've seen about 40 or 50 of these drones. In fact, there's one over my shoulder right there. One after another, after another. You know, the Ocean County Sheriff, that drone unit, they have an industrial grade drone. They put it up. They were tracking one of these drones, Elizabeth, and they said this thing easily evaded them, disappeared out of thin air. So, you know, to me, it's if this is not our military, then it's even more scary, and we need the answers, frankly.
Okay, so one thing is interesting that I guess the guy, the lawyer, he had the white hair, silver hair. He said something. He said a few things. There's a couple things we want to unpack. He said that, you know, the reporter asked, you know, what do they look like? You know, do we have any idea what they look like? And he said, well, that hasn't been disclosed to the public. Now that's important because, you know, Esau, if they were the tall whites or the Nordics or the Palladians, which they really tried to racialize space and so-called aliens and say that everybody's white. You know, if that was the case, they would have said that right then and there. Everybody would know about it, but it hasn't been released to the public. Also something he said that, so he has information that obviously hasn't been released to the public yet. He said, how are people going to react when they find out that an alien civilization surrounds us? Very important. He says that, you know what I mean? That means that we're literally surrounded, you know, and that's something that he knows. He might have heard in some closed briefs session or something like that, how many chariots there are. And, you know, that pretty much they're lining up Esau. Okay, I got one more video. I want to be done by now, but you know, one more video, and anybody that's on YouTube, come on over, and we're gonna talk about tabernacles. Okay, but let's not go ahead of ourselves. Let's go to Psalms 37, verse 11. One more video. This one, and this is bringing down the strongholds of Esau. You know what I mean? From the weakness of the president to the weakness of, you know, air defenses, any type of ground defenses, because he's saying surrounded. So we're surrounded, of course, in the air, but they also know that they walk among us. So Esau's pretty shook. That's why one thing I believe Trump keeps talking about, he wants to make it into heaven because he's thinking about death a lot lately. Okay, so let's go to Psalm 37, verse 11. But the meek shall inherit the earth. You know, that's talking about these so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Lack of Edomite oversight all over the place. Look, reading over your shoulder, reading your text messages, just for no reason. You know what I mean? Cameras all over this place, right? We're gonna be delight ourselves in the abundance of peace. Most High willing, we make it into the kingdom. The wicked plotteth against the wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth his day is coming. So, you know, the joke's on them. You know, they think that they can do whatever they want, get away with everything, and there'll be no oversight. That's what Christians believe, that the so-called white man can do all this around the world and bomb fishing boats. He says he had drugs in Venezuela boat, but who knows? They just bombed it, and killed those people, putting people in jail for trying to find a better life, and not just any jail, like a supermax jail, putting cases on people, telling them that they're part of gangs, all this stuff that Esau does. He's going to get paid back for, okay? And the Most High laughing at him because, he doesn't even see it coming, a lot of them, you know what I mean? If Donald Trump really had any level of intelligence, he would stop now. But of course, the Most High is guiding him any way he wants to go, like Proverbs 21 talks about, with the mind of the king, just like Pharaoh constantly hardening his heart. But right now, he is getting brought down. The strongholds of America is being brought down. Chariots are here. Chariots are coming for a 3-eye atlas on its way. So it's literally an unidentified flying object. And these people continue to watch us. Okay. Let's get Genesis 49 and 24 on deck, and let's watch this video.
One of the folks is admitting what I have always said, which is that the folks are obsessed with us. Take a look.
If you can't tell, the whole black Scottish thing. No, gingers are black thing. Like, Americans are obsessed with black people. It's clear. Even the racist ones. We are obsessed with black people. We love them. Most of us love them. There are a few of us that act like they hate them, but they're also obsessed.
Is she lying? She ain't lying. No lies were told here. I mean, let's just talk about it. So we have white gingers that are online saying, yeah, we're black, gingers are black. And then now the most recent with the Scottish black people. And the obsession is real. But even before that, even before all these viral videos, the amount of obsession for black people is just beyond, okay? We're talking about just constantly in our face. Constantly in our face, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, constantly in our face, constantly talking about us, constantly trying to look like us. If it's not hairstyles, it is lip fillers and cheek fillers and BBLs and breast augmentation and all kinds of procedures. And let's talk about how much that's costing and how many. Okay? So let's talk about lip fillers, which exploded after the Kylie Jenner effect. So that's around 2015 and upwards. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons reported that between 2000 and 2016, lip augmentation procedures rose 50%. By 2016, a lip procedure was happening every 20 minutes in the US. In 2023, hyaluronic acid filler injections, which is lip cheeks and jawlines, were the number 2 minimally invasive procedures in the US, with 3.8 million procedures costing $2.3 billion. And who's getting them? The majority are white women in their 20s to 40s. Now let's talk about the BBLs, the fastest growing cosmetic surgery in the world. In the United States alone, 37,000 BBLs were performed in 2021, a 37% increase from the previous year. And the cost, $8,000 to $15,000 per surgery in the US. By 2022, global BBL demand made it the number 1 fastest growing surgery in the world, fueled almost entirely by non-Black women chasing a curvier aesthetic. So what's the bill? Lip and cheek, $2.3 billion. BBLs, 400 to 500 million. So that's easily 2.7 to 3 billion annually spent. And you heard it, by predominantly non-Black women. because we, for the most part, naturally have that. Okay, that's a God-given gift for us. So with the folks, they're doing all of that. And then let's not talk about tan beds, the tanning. And if they're not laying in a tan bed, they're laying out. They look forward to those hot months so they can lay out. And if they're not laying out, they're spray tanning. So then you've got the hairstyles, the cornrows, the locks. I mean, the list goes on. So even with the obsession with us cosmetically, aesthetically, then we got the music. We created every genre of music. Yet they have appropriated and then they want to call it their own. So when Beyonce decided she's going to country, everybody was like, how dare you? Or not everybody, the folks were like, how dare you? When country originated from Black people. Okay. Let's not talk about all the inventions that Black people made and the folks took the patent and put their name on it. Okay. Let's not talk about in the sports world, in the entertainment world, in the dance, world, every space you think about, Black people dominate. And even if it's a space that was not initially dominated by us, when a Black person steps on there, it's a wrap, like Tiger Woods. When we talk about hockey, there are Black hockey players that are killing it. The list goes on. And by the way, hockey was originated by Black people. So, just another tidbit that, they don't want to admit. So I say all that to say the obsession is real. And like this woman said, even the racists love us. And she said she loves us too. But it's like, when somebody just wants to watch a train wreck, even though they don't want to watch it, but they're just obsessed. And, that's why we have those viral videos that say, if you're a Black person, you're never really lonely because there'll always be a white person watching you. That is true. I've experienced it myself. I'll be out with my sister, and my sister, shout out to my sister, she will tell you this. We will be in a space, and the amount of people that will be staring at us. Let me just tell you a story. We were at the grocery store the other day, and we were just checking out, and we were standing behind a white couple, and they weren't even paying attention to what was going through on the conveyor belt. They literally about face and were just staring at us incessantly. They were literally like this. And to the point where my sister finally looked at them and said, "Is everything okay?" And they had to catch themselves. They literally were just, I wish I had my phone out. I was dying of laughter because it's a common thing that happens, particularly when my sister and I are out together. And then also a couple of my other girlfriends. It's constant. And then it's a comment. And then it's, just incessant staring. Or it's, like I said, following up with a comment. And it's constant. So there really is an obsession, okay? And sometimes they say something nice like, "Oh, I love your dress," or "I love your hair," or whatever. But the obsession is truly real. And even to the haters, you're obsessed with us. Even the ones who watch this platform, you are mad at the things that we say, and you'll be in the comments tapping, mad, mad, mad. But you still come back and watch, don't you? So what's that? Isn't that an obsession? Just saying. It's like I said, the train wreck. You don't really want to see it, but you want to see it because the obsession is real. So I agree with what she said. You let me know what you think about.
Of course, that's facts. You know what I'm saying? I'm
So
sure
what's that? Isn't that an obsession?
we all had the um situation where you're at work and then Esau's just hanging over every word or trying to, pretend like he's doing something and just, sneaking, listening to whatever you're saying. Obsession is definitely the case, but we are the closest thing on earth to God. You know what I'm saying? The original man, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 49 and verse 24. And that type of you know, lineage, you know, people just stare. They see, they look, and they stare. Genesis chapter 49, verse 24. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From hence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. So it's talking about Joseph, but we get our strength from the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? And at one point in time, your lips, oh, look at those lips, look at those big lips, they're like monkeys and this, that, and the third. And then we actually look at monkey lips and like monkey lips are thin like y'all's. What are you talking about? You know? But it was, you know, they tried to make fun of us about our lips at one point in time, make fun of us about our nose, laugh about you know, they always kind of trying to mimic Eve's shape, you know, by putting like a fake I don't know what that was around those dresses. It just looks like a, you know, Eve's butt. Slovakia. But they've been wearing that since, you know, what, the 20s and, you know, back in the day, and their little ballroom dances, so forth and so on. So it started with that, and then now it's, you know, literally butt injections, breast augmentations, and the things that they tried to make fun of us about, they're now copying. You know what I'm saying?
Shalom,
In their
shalom.
pants. Shalom.
Salakia King, you remember that story about the woman that went over to Europe? It was a woman that she had like an extra big behind, and she went over to Europe. That's actually what started, and they had sex with her, and they made her into a prostitute. Forgot the name of the sister, but that's actually what started the dresses that you're talking about. Where you see those dresses, and you'll see the movies, and they got them dresses with the big shape. It's like a big behind. They was really that started that. That's where they really was mocking her or wanting to be like her because of her body. So the white women started wearing them big dresses with the big behind. Like you said, they always been jealous of us, man. Our women and all of that. They always try to copy us. I remember, you probably remember this too. Back in the days, it was who was the good? She had cornrows, and they was making a big thing. It was a white woman that had cornrows, and they tried to make her seem like she was the centerpiece for cornrows. I forgot that Edomite's name.
Bo Derek.
Yeah, Bo Derek. Exactly, Bo Derek. And they made her like the centerpiece. Like cornrows started with her. Like it's crazy. Even in the book of Judas, it told you that our women braided their hair. Like these Edomites have always tried to copy us.
Time. And that and all praise to the Most High, because you know, the the rightful owners of Sarah Bartman was the black woman, Sarah Bartman, if I'm saying that right. Dwada. You know, we're the pop culture. You know what I'm saying? We're instead of going to Cosmo, you ain't in this thing. You know what I'm saying? You look at, you know, the cover of Vanity Fair or any of these magazines, and you know that was supposed to be the epitome of beauty. You know, that's what you strive for. But the people that are most influential, you know what I mean, in white culture, meaning like Kylie Jenner or whatever like that, you know, they're trying their best to be black. You know what I mean? And you know, other celebrities. So we're it. Let's go to Psalm chapter let's see, 18. And we're it, not, you know, because, you know, the Most High chose us. You know, you have Michael Jordan that can hang in the air. You know what I mean? Defy gravity. It was all about his hang time. He would jump up and he would just stay in the air. That's not normal. There's gravity. You have to come back down to the ground, but that is some extra type of ability. And imagine when the time comes when, when Yahushua comes back and, really get spiritual power. Okay. Verse 8, let's go. Psalm chapter 18 and verse, 32. It is Yahweh that girdeth me with strength and maketh my way perfect. So the Most High is what these Edomites see in us. You know what I mean? They see the Most High God in us. But their strongholds are falling down. That's a huge one. That the epitome of beauty is the so-called white woman, or the Ken and Barbie scenario. It's not the case anymore. You know what I mean? It was never the case, but they really pushed that through the media. President's dropping dead. You know what I mean? His hands looking like is turning blacker than mine. You know what I mean? He looks like he's rotting from the inside out. And there's chariots all over the place. Okay. So count it all joy, breaking down the strongholds. Home Yasha'Allah, we got next. Okay. We're going to close out in prayer. Everybody that's on the YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. But come on over to the Zoom. We're going to talk about the Feast of Tabernacles. All right. But for now, if you want to stand and face the east, prostrate and face the east, we're going to close out in prayer. Home Yasha'Allah. All right. It's the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kwadash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachwaka, Daba'a, Ratazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashemayim, Nadananawa, Lacham, Kau, Yawam, Wasalafnawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalafnawa, Kabawafinawa, Wala'a, Dabinawa, Banasai 1, Abal, Hawashai Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Wa Allah, Wata Palaraf, La William, Aman. This book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Khan, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushai. Bringing down the strongholds in America, in Babylon, modern day Sodom and Gomorrah, modern day Egypt, and building up our culture, our God, our power. Okay, reading the Word of God and applying it to our everyday life, and enjoying watching the collapse of our enemies and their stronghold. Home Yashala, we got next.